Okay, John. Um, Thank you for letting me come over and do this interview with you.
No problem, absolutely.
All right. Well, we've been doing this for a while, and as I already explained, we're at the termination phase um, of our client therapist relationship.
Okay.
So, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and then maybe we can determine if maybe we need to keep it going any further, or if we need to terminate this case.
Okay.
All right. So, first question I want to ask you: could you summarize some of the strengths that you have acquired since our sessions began?
Some of the strengths I've acquired was self-examination. I was
Mm-hmm.
able to take some inventories of who I was without being afraid of the consequences of talking about it in terms of my own guilt, my own shame.
Mm-hmm.
You created a space for me to be comfortable
Okay.
and to really concentrate on my strengths.
Okay. As far as dealing with being able to go back to your old neighborhood and be around people who were also involved in gang activity, how's that affected you?
Well, and to piggyback off of the strengths I had, you empowered through this counseling. I've been empowered,
Okay.
and to go back into those areas, I can see it better, kind of like stepping out of it, and then being able to see what type of environment I was living in. Um, I believe that was your question in terms of what I've seen going back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So in life we don't always see things the way we want to. We often come across various problems and situations. Um, Name some of your problem solving skills.
Definitely tunnel vision, seeing things in one way. Um, my problem solving skills
Mm-hmm.
would be now having an open mind,
Okay.
taking suggestions,
Okay.
uh, really determining what's the root cause of an issue. And I've been taught that through my counseling. And so those skills have given me an opportunity to really open up and really address some issues.
Okay. What are some of your most dependable resources? For example, family, ethnocultural, spiritual networks,
Mhm.
etc.
I didn't think I had any dependable resources when I was involved in what I was, but now I see that family has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there are some counselors that I depend on, like these sessions,
Mm-hmm.
and that has never deviated from the course of at least having me address some issues, from all the things I've been through. So my dependable resources pretty much is family. Those I've been referenced to for counseling. I can say solid. Those are dependable resources.
What about the Veterans Network?
Well, the Veterans Network, we vets often go there and we don't recognize sometimes that there are people there who long term wants to know what our well being is like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I fished out those people, and yes, there are several, people in that administration that are very dependable.
Okay. Briefly, name some of your immediate goals that you wish to accomplish.
Graduating from school, um, I'm back into some classes to help me kind of get acclimated into society. Um, Getting married, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I have a woman in my life now, and we're working on some issues, and uh, perhaps buying a house one day.
Okay. And do you think these are achievable short-term goals, or are these things that you're going to try to stretch out? And
In terms of the short term goals, I definitely know that there are steps that I have to take to get these things. The house and the marriage may be more long term. In the schooling, may be more long term. So a lot of the to at least give some short term goals for myself. Um, Continue to go to meetings. Continue to go to counseling. Those things are short term.
okay. Do you plan on continuing therapy with the referrals that I've given you so far? Or
Absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely plan on. I don't want to leave this open and not have no counseling after this.
okay. And some of those referrals were obviously the Veterans Administration.
Hmm.
We have Mercy Behavioral.
Hmm.
We have Monyard. Of course, you go to AA meetings.
Hmm.
You continue going to your AA
Yes, I
meetings.
am. Those are very helpful.
Okay. Do you feel that our sessions have been beneficial to you?
Absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, because of coming from the gang violence at
Hmm.
my age, going into, you know, certain military branches like I was in,
Hmm.
coming home, you've helped me understand that, what I've developed in there, I didn't have to go and resort to alcohol.
Right.
And so these have been very helpful. You've given me other options to look at.
Okay. Um, Occasionally, I may want to contact you or check up on you, check over your status.
Hmm.
Do you have any issues with that? Any
No, I want to keep
objections?
the communication open. I had a hard time communicating in the past,
Okay.
isolating, so I don't have a problem with that.
And I know whenever we deal with termination of cases, sometimes it's kind of like nobody likes goodbyes.
Hmm.
So don't think of the termination as an ending.
Okay.
Think of it as a completion, and um, sessions are ceased for now.
Okay.
So that means that when anything pops up, if you ever needed any type of resources or help, we still offer outreach.
Okay.
Also, if there are any other therapists that may benefit you more than I could, I wouldn't have a problem introducing you to them, breaking the ice
Good.
type scenario.
Thank
All right. So, are there anything that you could have that I could have done different or better during this past few years of therapy?
you. In my understanding when I first came in, I needed probably more engagement, but I seen what you were doing. You were trying to understand as a client who I was before
Hmm.
you can engage
Right.
and start bringing things suggestive.
Right.
So I can say, in terms of what you could have done better, I had a perspective of what you should have done, but now I see that that was the course that I needed to take as a client and as my counselor. You needed to hear me out.
Right. And according to the NASW, they're very strong on client self determination.
Hmm.
And throughout years, often caseworkers, social workers, case managers, they type they tend to have a vision of what they want for you,
Hmm.
and they push that vision, and they don't necessarily listen to what your vision is and make
Hmm.
sure your vision comes to fruition. So sometimes it's best to step back and let the client drive.
Hmm.
You just be the GPS.
Hmm.
But lastly, really, just I think we covered pretty much it. My intentions would be to contact you maybe in 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Make sure everything's the way it should be on schedule.
Okay.
Of course, you still have my number.
Hmm.
Um, if there's anything particular that's needed, um, first, you could always email, and if it's something immediate, you can call, and if you have to, you can still come down, but you're not obligated by session anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll call in 3 to 6 months, check up on you, make sure everything's good,
Okay.
and afterwards, I probably would do another 6 months after that, and from then on, as long as there's no other issues to pop up,
Hmm.
you pretty much will keep your case. You always have access to it.
Hmm.
Um, all of your files that you've given permission for other people to see, they're going to be closed.
Okay.
They're not going to be shipped anywhere without your permission. So
Good.
you'll be notified that. And outside of any particular sensitive things, you could always still come through and review anything that you may need to review as well.
I appreciate that. I would like to see my progress in other people's perspective from where I came from into the military, developing PTSD, alcoholism, and counseling. I feel I come a long way. So
Definitely. Well, again, I appreciate it, John.
thank you so much.
All right, yes,
Appreciate
sir.
being with you.
Okay. So, John is a former gang member who has witnessed a lot of violence and death in the gang, in his gang activity. In his youth, he decided to escape that by going into the military, into the Navy, where he became a Navy SEAL. When he left because of experiencing so much violence and death there, he had to find a coping mechanism, and he turned to alcoholism. Since he's come to therapy with us, he's went to different AA meetings, and he's been dual diagnosed with post traumatic stress disorder, where he's been helped out by some of the veteran programs as well as Mercy Behavioral, as well as Monyat. So he's shown a lot of progress. He's went from being unable to deal with society as a whole to being able to function, have his own place, and he's pretty much stable. We've extended his care from the thought 2 years to actually 3 years, and now he's ready to terminate his case. So I would have him marked as a successful discharge, and I will evaluate and contact him in a few months to make sure everything's still stable. And afterwards, I'll close and we'll seal the file.